Hi, welcome back. In this video, I am going to show you the Lucena and Philidor position. Let's start. The Lucena position occurs when the king is on f8, pawn on f7 and rook on e1, where black's pieces are on king on d7 and rook on g3. White is a pawn up, but the white king has nowhere to move because the g file is blocked by the rook and the e file we cannot go because of the king on d7. So, what's the move here? You can pause the video and find it. The correct move is rook d1. And after rook d1, the black king has many choices like king c8, king c7, king c6 and king d6. If he plays king e6, we can play king e8 and there is no way to stop the promotion. If he plays rook f3, f8 equals queen, rx f8 and kx f8. Now we are simply a rook up and we can win the game. So after rook d1, he has many choices like king c8, king c7, king c6. Let's take king c6 because wherever he moves the idea is same. Now we want to come on to the e file because the king has left some d7. So if he come on to e file, he will give us check. If we go back to f8, he'll go back to g3. Then there's no change in the position. So we have to play king f6. After rook f3, king e6. Now he'll keep on giving checks with rook e3. If he move to f5, he'll play rook f3. Now we can't come any more forward or stay in the same position, same rank because the f7 pawn is hanging. So we have to go and protect it with g6. Then the same thing will continue going back. But instead, here, after rook f3, if our rook was on f4, we could have stopped the rook and we could have promoted the next move. So, if you have calculated this, after king c6, we can play rook d4. Now the zigzag pattern works because the rook can come to f4. Imagine black plays a move like rook g1. Now we'll try out the zigzag pattern. Let's see if it works. We reached a position where the zigzag pattern was there without the rook on d4. Now the rook is there on d4. So we can play rook f4 and block the rook simply. If he takes on f4, we can take back with the king and we can promote next move. If he just plays rook e1, we can directly promote rook e1. So this is the Lucena position, and in the Lucena position, what you have to do is force the king away from the d file, then bring your rook to d4 because the zigzag pattern, if you go directly with it, then rook f3 check will come at the last and then you might lose your pawn if you play incorrectly. But if you play rook d4, now your rook is on the 4th rank. So after the zigzag pattern happens, like king e6, rook e1, king f5, after rook f1, you can't go forward because you lose the pawn. But you have a good move which is rook to f4. The rook on d4 has come to use. Rook f4. And now we are blocking the rook. And we can promote the pawn. If he takes rx f4, kx f4, king d7, he is just short of a move to block our pawn, but we promoted. So this is the Lucena position. Let's move on to the Philidor position. The Philidor position occurs when black has a rook on a1 and king on e8, where white has a rook on h7, king on f5 and pawn on e5. Black is a pawn down, but black can draw with a very brilliant idea. Many players will play rook f1 and after king e6, white has threats like rook h8 and rook f after rook f8, rx f8, kx f8, king d7, where white can promote the pawn easily. So many players will bring their rook back to f8, protecting the h8 square. But rook f8 is passive because white can just swing his rook directly to a7. Now rook a8 is unstoppable and white can win the game easily. So rook f1 is not very good move. The main thing we should do is we have to stop the king coming to the E rank, because after it comes to the E rank, it creates many threats to our king. Like example, it's white to play. He plays king e6 and rook h8 is a checkmate threat. So we have to block the e5. I mean sixth rank. So we have to play rook a6. Now we are blocking the rank. He'll play white will play e6, thinking that next he can play king f6 and threaten threats. But we but black has a good move. Not rook a5, not rook b6 waiting, but just to move our rook back to a1. You must think that we went to a6 and came back to a1. What's the use of going to a6? The use is now after king f6 we can give check. Now the pawn is at the same rank where the king is. So king can't hide from the rook's checks. And after king e5, rook e1, king d5, rook d1, king c6, rook c1, the checks keep on continuing. Imagine he goes to a square like h8. Now we can still play rook e1 and the pawn is attacked. If he tries out a zigzag pattern like rook f5 here, king e4, rook e1, he can't go any forward because the pawn will be hanging. So he has to keep on defending. So this is how black can draw. So the Lucena and the Philidor position is done. Hope you enjoyed this video and I will come back in the next video. Thank you.